Let's lock this in just for the Short Clips podcast. Hash 8-minute evergreen messy script, Dame Dash Bankruptcy and Judgment's outro to the Short Clips podcast. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Short Clips podcast. Today, we're getting into some grown folk business and a little bit of financial horror story. We're talking about Dame Dash. Yeah, that Dame Dash. And why even bankruptcy might not be enough to save him from millions in judgments that keep circling his name like sharks. People hear bankruptcy and automatically think, oh, he's straight now? He pressed the reset button? Nah, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So let's really talk about it. First off, understand who we're dealing with. Dame Dash isn't some random dude from the block trying to figure it out. This is a man who helped build a whole era in hip-hop. Roc-A-Fella, legendary runs, big talk, big boss energy. He spent years telling the world about ownership, independence, calling out people for not being their own boss. So when people start hearing about bankruptcy, back child support, lawsuits, judgments, it doesn't match the image. Folks are like, how you go from yelling about being a mogul to standing in court saying you can't pay. That's where the story gets messy. And honestly, really real. Let's break this all the way down. When we say judgment, we're not just talking about somebody being mad at you or talking crazy online. A judgment is when somebody sues you, takes you to court, wins, and now there's a legal order saying you owe this person money, period. That's not a rumor. That's not a blog post. That's paperwork with a judge's stamp on it. And once that judgment is on your name, it's like a stain that doesn't wash out easy. It can sit there for years. It can grow with interest. It can follow you from deal to deal. And the crazy part, filing for bankruptcy doesn't automatically erase it. That's the part people don't want to hear. A lot of folks think bankruptcy is like confessing your financial sins and walking out brand new. I filed, so I'm good now. Nah, bankruptcy is more like going to the court and saying, open quote, look, I'm drowning. I can't keep up. I need help organizing, reducing or clearing some of this. Close quote. The court looks at what you owe and what sticks. And guess what? Certain debts, especially certain kinds of judgments, are built to survive that process. So you could be like Dame Dash, filing for bankruptcy, telling the court, I don't have it, and still have people lined up with judgments like, open quote, that's nice, we still want our money. Close quote. Then they pop up. Now add Dame's public persona to that. For years, he's been talking boss talk, don't work for nobody, I'm rich in spirit, I'm a real CEO, all that. And there's nothing wrong with confidence. But when you're telling the world, I'm good, I'm still that guy, and at the same time telling the court, I'm broke, I can't pay, that contradiction starts to look funny in the light. Because here's the thing. The court doesn't watch your interviews for entertainment. They watch them as evidence. You on camera talking like you're up, you in photos looking like you still living luxury, you doing events, business ventures, new brands, new companies. All of that makes people wonder, open quote, are you really broke? Or are you just broke on paper? Close quote. That's when lawyers start digging. Whose name is the house in? Whose name is the company in? Where's the money actually flowing? Is this really struggle or is this strategy? And if they feel like you're playing games, now you're not just in debt, you're in debt with smoke. Once a judgment is in place, creditors have options. They can try to garnish income, meaning if you touch a check, they might get a slice before you do. Hit bank accounts. Money comes in, money disappears. Place liens on property. You try to sell something, that judgment gets paid before you touch a profit. So imagine trying to bounce back, start fresh, stack, rebuild, and every time you get close to something decent, there's this old judgment from years ago still taking a bite out of your pocket. That's the reality behind that millions in judgments talk. It's not just drama. It's the system saying, we did not forget. And let's be real, this is bigger than Dame Dash. He's just the loud public example. There's regular people living quiet versions of the same nightmare. You get sued by an old landlord, an ex-business partner, an ex-spouse, somebody that says you didn't pay them what you owed. You lose. It becomes a judgment. You think you're going to move, start over, switch jobs, vanish. Then you file bankruptcy, thinking, open quote, cool, I'm done with that, fresh start, close quote. But depending on what kind of debt it is and how the court classifies it, That judgment might outlive your bankruptcy like it's immortal. Here's the ugly truth. We grew up on the be a boss, own your shit, don't let nobody little boy you narrative. But nobody taught the other side. How to protect yourself legally, how to structure deals right, how to keep receipts, how to negotiate before it hits the courtroom, and how dangerous it is when pride, ego, and money all crash into the legal system. Because once it's a judgment, it's not personal anymore. It's not he say, she say. It's not who's more lit online. It's the court versus your pockets. So you look at Dame Dash, a man who was once one of the loudest in the room about ownership, sitting in a situation where even bankruptcy might not be enough to shield him from everybody who has paperwork on him. And it shows you something. You can be a legend. You can be right in spirit. You can be iconic in culture. But on paper, if that judgment is there, the system is going to treat you like anybody else. It's stamped. No speeches, no interviews, no classic moments are going to override that. And that's why his name keeps coming up attached to these numbers, these court stories, these he still owes conversations. Because once you're inside that machine, it moves slow, but it moves consistently. It doesn't care about your highlights. It cares about that balance due. So yeah, bankruptcy sounds like a finish line. In reality, for somebody like Dame Dash, it might just be another round in a long, exhausting fight with old debts, old decisions, and old paperwork that refuses to die. All right, y'all, we're going to wrap it up right there. Thank you for watching, and if you rocked with this breakdown, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the Short Clips podcast. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next messy deep dive, and I'll catch you on the next one.